How many people here today have a MySpace, a Facebook, a YouTube account, maybe a Twitter account? Reports show that over 74% of American teens have these things. These new created internet phenomenons that people use to access information with other friends and other members of their families and reach out to communities and market and any other way that they could ever think to use these new portals. But what people don't understand is that these portals are being used to harm other people. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about cyberbullying and what exactly cyberbullying is doing to this country. Cyberbullying to the government is considered when a child, preteen, or teen is tormented, threatened, harassed, humiliated, embarrassed, or otherwise targeted by another using the internet, interactive or digital media, technology, or mobile phones. What many of you don't know is that what many of you do know is that teens bully other teens all the time. It's in schools and playgrounds, on street corners and alleyways. It's everywhere. It's something that America's never here. So I really think that if everybody bands together and really talks about this subject, that we could really get something done with this, and we could save some, innocent lives. The second question that is told is, how did cyberbullying really come about? Honestly, cyberbullying came about because these phenomenons were created. MySpace was created. Facebook was created. People could go and almost dig into other people's lives. There was no privacy for such a long time. Before 2006, MySpace had no privacy laws. So you couldn't make your MySpace private or anything. And I know Facebook and MySpace daily are trying to encourage and change their privacy stipulations so that people are more protected and information just isn't out there like wildfire. It's kind of crazy that if you go Google your name, you can see almost everything that's on your profile, pictures, information, which is kind of where this portal came about. They had no privacy, so it was so easy for someone who wanted to hurt them to do so, because all the information and all the things they needed to use that were sitting right there. And as they grow almost instantaneously, it's only getting worse because they're only finding more and more portals to use, sending graphics through cell phones, mass texting, creating groups on Facebook, and putting up videos on YouTube, and connecting to people on Twitter. It's an ever so climbing amount of information and portals that these kids can use to demean other kids. So it definitely just grew with the phenomenon of what is the mediums that they use. The third and final question that I have is, with cyberbullying, do you think that you'll be able to completely stop what is cyberbullying? Honestly, cyberbullying and bullying kind of go hand in hand. You really can't stop bullying because you can't prevent it. It's just like a murder. Unless you knew every step that killer was going to take, you can't prevent that other person from being murdered. It's just, you'd almost have to have a sixth sense, as they would say. And cyberbullying goes right along that with bullying. You don't know that these children are going to do that, or when they're going to do it, or what they're going to say, or who they're going to say it about, which is really the biggest gray area of it. How do we prevent it? Well, it's so hard to prevent, so they've created websites and complete organizations on just putting out the word of what cyberbullying is, and teaching parents how to talk to their kids about it, and giving them materials and documentation of how to prevent it, and how kids should go about solving their problems instead of just lashing out and hurting another child. So I really think that completely preventing it is almost impossible, because that's like preventing a car crash. You really can't. If it's inevitable, it's going to happen. But I think we can really go out there and help lessen that force a little bit, and we can give preventative measures to maybe bring down the amount of cyberbullying that is happening. But I think on the most part, legislation isn't going to prevent cyberbullying. It's just going to give those that decide to cyberbully consequences. So that concludes my speech and my question and answer session. Thank you for listening. I've never been able to get rid of, and it's something that I think will continue to go on as long as there are humans and people despise other people for whatever reasons they may do so. But what people don't understand is these portals are becoming a new avenue for teens and young adults to use to take those bullying effects to a higher level. Cyberbullying mediums have been used like YouTube and MySpace and Facebook and Twitter and Craigslist and any other thing you could think of that a teen gets on a daily basis. These teens now take their bullying efforts online. They'll create hate pages, make statuses that say inappropriate or sometimes not true things. They will create complete websites dedicated to another person just to show how much they dislike or hate this person. What people don't understand is that going to the internet is almost indispensable. The internet is a phenomenon like any other that anybody else could describe, and when you put something on it, even though you may delete it off the internet, it's not necessarily deleted. It's once you put it on the internet, it's there forever. Unfortunately, for these teens, this is what's making this such an irreparable source for bullying. Because when something gets put on, like a video or maybe a picture with things drawn on it to make that student or that teen or that child feel embarrassed or humiliated, they may delete it within seconds, but by the time they've deleted it, it's spread like wildfire over the internet, and it's on other sites, it's on wikis, it's on RSS feeds, it's on all types of things, to where this now child who was targeted for bullying will forever be haunted with these images and these videos and these pages. And the sad part about it is that there's nothing to do about it right now. There's nothing to do for it. Most of the time, there are no consequences until the action has already been created or has been uploaded or has been, processed. And by then, the teen that was targeted through all of this is actually already hurt or humiliated. And the saddest part about this whole phenomenon is that children are dying all over the nation just because they've been bullied on the internet. In Florida, there was a girl who had created a MySpace page, and she was friends with a girl, obviously, on the MySpace page, and she created a status about how she was going to out with this girl's boyfriend. Within hours, the other girl got wind of all this situation, and she wasn't very happy about it. So she went out on her own, and she physically attacked this girl and videotaped it. So the first girl cyberbullied the second girl by saying that she was going out with her boyfriend, and the second girl cyberbullied the first girl by videotape her violently beating her for over 13 minutes and uploaded it on YouTube. The video was only on MySpace for about 2.5 minutes, I want to say, and then on YouTube it was only there for 13 minutes. But by the time YouTube officials had been able to take it down, and before the girl actually took it off the MySpace page, it had spread to over 427 web pages and had over more than 15 million views. And this girl, who just simply decided to make a hate statement on her MySpace, is now in the ICU at a hospital and may never be able to see again, may never be able to hear anything again because she was so badly bludgeoned. And in Virginia last year, there was a boy who was a homosexual, and he was an openly homosexual, and students found this to be inappropriate. So their only avenue to bully him was the internet. So they created a complete fake MySpace with his name, with all these demeaning and humiliating photos and comments and postings. And this little boy, 13 years old, committed suicide 6 days later because he was so humiliated about what his classmates had done. Unfortunately, cyberbullying is such a gray area that there's really not much legislation can do. What do? Do you delete people's MySpaces and Facebooks that may or may not cyberbully at some point? How do you target a cyberbully? Do you say this kid has these types of flaws and in these situations he's bullied other students, so he's gonna go to the internet at some point? You can't target a cyberbully before they become a cyberbully.